This is the new Bentley Continental Flying Spur. Yes, and this is my driver, Fabrizio. How you doing, Fabrizio?
Hello. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, mate. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Oh, great. So this thing starts from £165,000, though it's not on sale yet. But if you're interested in a Continental GT Coupe, if you click on the pop-out banner up there or follow the link below the video, you can save an average of £14,500 off one through carwow. Seriously though, if you know someone who's looking to buy a new car, or maybe you are, just check out carwow, all right? We all good to go then, Fabrizio?
Yes.
Cool. What a treat. This is the best intro to any video review I've ever done. Well, from my perspective anyway. Now the first thing I want to know about the Bentley Continental Flying Spur is just how quick it is. You see, Rolls-Royces are supposed to be swift, but Bentleys are meant to be effing fast. So I'm about to arrive at a péage and then my driver is going to launch it. I'm going to see how quickly it gets to 60 miles an hour using my specialist timing equipment. Never done this before from the back seats, but let's give it a go. Right then, driver, nail it. And I've got a reading, people. It's 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. Now the car is supposed to do it in 3.7, but to be fair, that was uphill. We've got 3 people in the car and the surface was really bad. I could hear the tyres just scrabbling for grip, but rest assured, we were first out of the gate and got ahead of some other traffic. So not too bad. I'll take that. It's a Bentley for sure. Now I've done the all-important performance test, let's talk about what this car is like to be driven in. So first of all, this isn't actually the best seat to be in, it's that one there behind the front passenger seat, because then you can move the front passenger seat all the way forward. But still, there's no problems here for me, even though he's in his normal driving position. I've got loads of knee room, loads of headroom. I can just sit back and relax and enjoy this lovely Bentley pillow that I'm nestling my head on. It's actually made out of suede. In fact, the leather in here is absolutely gorgeous and quality everywhere is impeccable. Everything's hand stitched. It's joyous. I love it. Plus, when you're just driving around, it's superbly quiet, unless Fabrizio puts his foot down, then you hear that W12, but it's never intrusive. And of course, it's fully kitted out. So underneath my armrest, there is the all-important connectivity things there, so I can charge mobile devices, some cup holders there, which I can use to hold. Look, in here we have a fridge. It's my bottles of water. Now, it would be a bit better if I had some champagne in there, but I haven't. Oh, I'll tell you what, every single switch you touch is just glorious. It's like a jewel. And the organ stops back here, and the knurling around the air vents. And I like this as well, look. You've got a little area for your mobile phone, you can just plop it there. And then you've got this main infotainment screen here. It's exactly the same as you get in an Audi A8, so you can actually detach it, look like that, which means that thieves can easily detach it. So when you park up, you're gonna have to put that in the boot. Though of course your driver will stay with the car, silly me. Now, one of the things that Bentley's asked us to do is use the mirror app. So you can use the mirror app to check that you're looking good, you know, so you're spick and span for your arrival at your destination. And they actually asked us to do a photo with this and see if we could think of the most creative photo we could do. So I did think of one, and I didn't shoot it in this car. This is what I came up with. Yeah, you can always rely on me to do something a little bit annoying, can't you? And if you don't want to use the mirror function, look, you've got a proper little vanity mirror there. I am definitely vain. Anyway, you can look at the navigation, you can control the media, but then you've also got this other little screen down here which controls, at first glance, it seems that it's only your seats for the heating, the cooling and the rear climate control system. But if I press this little button, look, it pops out. Once again, very similar to one you get in the Audi A8. And then I can do various things with it. For instance, I can operate my seat, the massage function on it. Let's go for a nice, relaxing massage. And I'm going to definitely have the intensity maximum. I like it nice and hard, guys. Nice and hard when we're talking about massages. So yeah, that's a really nice piece of kit. It's really, really weighty and expensive. You can do something else really cool with this as well. So I can operate the blinds if I want to. I can do the lighting, so I can change the color of the accents. But I particularly like this. You see the flying bee in the bonnet? I can actually control it with this. I can conceal it if I think it's a little bit too ostentatious. Or, if I want to show off, I can reveal it. Just at a press of the button, and as you see it popping up on the screen, it is popping out the car's bonnet. It's things like that that just make the car feel that little bit more special. Love that feature. You can control a lot of other things through this as well, but I'm not going to bore you with the details. I guess I better assess this car's comfort. So Fabrizio, would you mind putting the car into comfort mode? Okay, now that's going to slacken off the suspension, and that's starting to get air suspension. It's really, really good over bumps. You hardly feel them. It's maybe not quite as soft as a suspension in a Rolls-Royce Ghost, but then it's a Bentley. It's supposed to have a slightly sportier edge, but I can tell you this, I'm very, very comfortable. No complaints at all. Anyway, that's the comfort bit tested. Now, Fabrizio, would you mind putting the car into sports mode? Because we're on quite a twisty road. And do you know what, mate? If you'd like to, get and have some fun. I want to see what it's like in the back seat when the driver goes a little bit crazy. So that's stiffened up the suspension, it's sharpened the throttle response, increased the speed from the gear changes. And Fabrizio, apparently, is also a part-time rally driver, so he knows what he's doing, so he can get decent performance out of this car and should be able to exploit its handling. So it's a big thing, this big heavy car. Yeah, we're going around some tight bends and the car is remaining completely flat, and I have confidence in it and Fabrizio because we've got four-wheel drive and it's quite well balanced. And if he gets it wrong, we end up in the sea over there. But flipping heck, do you know what? You cannot do this in the back of a Rolls Royce. There's no way. Do you know what? I thought I'd be getting travel sick, but I'm not. That is impressive. And I'm a little bit queasy actually on twisty roads, even when I'm driving. And this car, while being smooth, is strangely not making me feel travel sick. I think it's just because it doesn't roll about much. It just stays flat in the corners. That's impressive and good driving, Fabrizio.
Thank you.
Okay, then let's continue this review, but this time I've changed my outfit because I've also changed the car. So this is in a different colour. It's called Sand. Love the colour. And it's got the black pack on it, so you've got like black elements on the car and this strip on the bonnet as well, whereas the other one had chrome. That one was more elegant. This is more sporty, just like my outfit. Now, the front of this car is dominated by this grille. Look, it's massive and it's got vertical slats, which harks back to Bentleys from the late 1950s. There's also blingy crystals in the headlamps. As we move around the sides, you'll notice there's not much of an overhang, really. You know, this is a long car. That makes it look sporty. Now, as standard, you get 21-inch alloy wheels. These are 22s. You've got these B for Bentley vent there on the side. I say vent, it's actually a fake vent. Oh dear. I can't criticise these strong creases in the bodywork though, they're amazing. So the car is actually made out of aluminium. It's really hard to press them into this shape, but they've somehow managed to do it and it does look cool. Also, what's interesting is this panel that runs from here all the way down the back part of the car is just one piece, and it's the biggest single piece of panel fitted to any car currently on sale. Let's move finally around the back, and then you've got the classic Bentley tailpipes there. They're not fake, there's two actual exhausts in there, and the back end is really neat. Once again, lots of creases in it and looking good with this black pack on it. I love it. I think this is a really, really sporty looking large saloon. In fact, if you click on the pop-out banner up there, which would you rather have, this Bentley Flying Spur or a Rolls-Royce Ghost? Oh, decisions, decisions. Welcome to the interior of the Bentley Continental Flying Spur, and it's just as glorious as the outside. The design is very similar to that in the Continental GT. However, there are a few differences. For instance, you have what's known as Texas-style air vents in the centre rather than the bullseye design, and the centre console is slightly lower as well, but I do like the way that it's designed to look like it's floating. I love it. I love Bentley interiors though, so I'm a bit biased. I mean, quality in here, I mean, it's almost childish to talk about it, but everything is super lovely. I mean, there's leather everywhere in this car. I love the wood as well. I don't normally say that, but the wood looks good. And then there's this metal strip that runs around the car, and all the detailing, like the metallic bits, the knurling here on this particular car, the Bentley clock, the feel of the steering wheel is glorious as well. Also, the carpets are so thick that it makes me want to drive barefoot.
No! God, please, no!
The only thing I don't like is the fact that these buttons just remind me of those in an A3. They're identical. Also, we've got digital dials, which I kind of wish that this had analog dials, but they do look cool. And of course, there's a lot more functionality with the digital dials. In fact, this system is pretty much identical to the virtual cockpit you get in Audis. It's just got some Bentley graphics on it. That brings me on to the main infotainment system, which is a huge widescreen, which is very similar to the system in a Porsche Panamera, and it's generally all right, though some of the icons can be a bit hard to hit while you're driving along, and the navigation is okay, and it comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard. However, it's not quite as good as BMW's iDrive. In fact, if you click on the pop-out banner up there, you can watch my full detailed review of the 760 Li. And that brings me on to this car's specs. As well as the 2 digital displays, you get a reversing camera and a 360-degree top-down camera. There's also various technology to stop you crashing into things and people when you're driving through town. As standard, you get a Bose sound system, but you can upgrade to this Bang & Olufsen system, which has 1500 watts and 16 speakers. Not loud enough for you, sir? Well, you can then upgrade further to the Name system, which has 2200 watts and 22 speakers. In fact, that is the loudest stereo fitted to any car in the world ever. I'm talking about as fitted by a manufacturer, not aftermarket systems, people. If you want to make the interior of this car even more lovely, then upgrade to the Mulliner pack. So that includes sports pedals, a jewelled fuel filler cap, diamond quilting on the seats, and a new diamond quilting 3D effect leather in the door panels. I have never seen anything like that before. It's rather cool. Now let's talk about functionality here in the front. So this car's got a wireless charging pad, which is great for me and my Samsung. However, if you've got an old phone, then you do have 2 USB charging points. They're neatly hidden, actually, I like that. And there's a 12-volt socket there and a proper cigarette lighter. Yeah, for lighting your Cuban cigars. Then there's the layout. So it's all very simple to operate the climate control because the actual temperature is in the dials here. Then you've got the cooling and heating for the seats. And the seats are very, very comfortable. There's loads of electrical adjustment in them, so you're going to be able to get comfy whether you're big or small. And there's plenty of adjustment in the steering wheel. Once again, it's electric. Then there's the practicality. So decent sized door bins. Look, I can fit that in there. And there's a neat little place just down here. There's one on the other side as well, where you can keep the big Bentley key. Where are the cup holders though? Well, don't worry, they're hidden under here. Now, they are quite deep, so that's quite a tall coffee cup, and that just fits, but there is risk with small ones that you'll just end up removing the lid when you're trying to remove the cup. Moving on to the glove box, it's not that big, but it is refrigerated, which means you can keep your drinks cool. Right, let's talk about this car's practicality. Now, I love how you open the boot by pressing the B. Super cool. And as you can see, the size is all right and the opening is quite large. You have this metallic scuff plate here, so when you're having to lift things over the lip, you don't damage your paintwork. It's got nice thick carpet in here. Yeah, it's very thick for a boots carpeting. And you've got some tie down points. You've got a 12-volt socket as well. Under here, there's not much apart from your stuff. And you'll notice there's, the fridge eats into the boot space. In fact, the boot capacity is about 15% smaller than a Rolls-Royce Ghost and Mercedes Maybachs. Oh dear. And that brings me on to 5 annoying things about the Bentley Continental Flying Spur. If you want fully auto cruise control, then you're going to have to pay extra for it, which is a bit cheeky on a car that costs this much when it's standard on a Toyota Corolla. Also, options are very expensive. It's all too easy to spec this car up way beyond £200,000. I know this car is hand built and everything, but the way that metal strip on the dash doesn't quite line up with the one that goes in the door is really doing my head in, even from here. The new dual clutch automatic gearbox isn't quite as smooth at pulling away from a standstill as an old-fashioned torque converter auto. Now, admittedly, I'm hamming this up a bit to just illustrate to you my point. However, when you're driving along at speed and you're accelerating, then you suddenly lift off the throttle, it does sometimes give you a weird jolt, which is a bit uncharacteristic for a luxury car. Well, you think you may be able to lift this up for some extra storage space. No, it doesn't budge at all, but you can slide it forward, but then there's a problem with that, as I'll illustrate now. While there is a middle seat here in the back, it's certainly not Bentley comfortable. Yeah, you're going to resent the people sat in these 2 outer seats. Thankfully, this car has plenty of cool features to help make up for all this. Here's 5. Fed up of being distracted by modern technology while you're driving? Well, why not have a digital detox? With the press of a button, you can rotate this round to some old-fashioned dials, or if you want to, just get rid of it entirely. That's better. The Flying Bee bonnet mascot took 2 years to design, and you can get it with crystal inlays in the wings, and they actually illuminate at night. How cool is that? The Flying Spur gets the same brakes as the Continental GT, and that means it has 420mm iron discs at the front, which are the largest fitted to any production car. This is the fastest saloon car in the world with a top speed of 207 miles an hour, and it does that in 6th gear. 7th and 8th gear are just for improved economy. You get rear wheel steering as standard, which means the back wheels turn in the opposite direction as the fronts when you're going slowly to make this more manoeuvrable, and then they go in the same direction as the fronts when you're going faster to improve stability. You also get active anti-roll bars which decouple when you're going along the straight to help make things nice and comfortable. At the moment you can only get the Bentley Continental Flying Spur with one engine, but what an engine it is! It's a 6-litre W12 with 635 horsepower, 900 Newton meters of torque, and there it is, behold, look at it. Now, if that's a little bit too powerful for you, there will be a twin-turbo 4-litre V8 with 550 horsepower and 770 Newton meters of torque, and if you're a bit worried about the environment and want to improve your economy, there'll also be a V6 plug-in hybrid with 450 horsepower and 700 Newton meters of torque. Now, what happens when you give your show for the day off and you've got to cruise around town yourself? I mean, this is a big long car, 5.3 meters. It's going to be too awkward to drive, but wait a minute. We've got rear wheel steering as standard, so actually it's very, very manoeuvrable. Oh gosh, that's taken a lot of the strain out of driving in town, I can tell you. It's a nightmare around here, actually. So you almost got crashed into by a blooming lorry. Woo! Yeah, that would have cost you a lot of money. That would have, Mr. Sixt. Not sure if you've got the insurance for that. Yeah, I have got a camera on my car and you have been filmed. Don't worry though, it's just for entertainment, it's not for prosecution purposes. Anyway, I'm looking for my hotel. It's a travel lodge. Where's the travel lodge? All these just look a little bit too cheap for me. Wait a minute, is that Tiffany Dell? So what happens when you've got a long journey and you really can't be arsed to drive yourself? Well, all you have to do is engage the automatic cruise control, which will keep you a safe distance from the car in front and do the steering for you. However, if you take your hands off the wheel, it can tell there's no resistance from your hands and it will eventually disengage. But I have a solution. You see these Bentley ashtrays, they're solid metal, so are really heavy, and if you wedge them in the steering wheel like that, it provides enough resistance that the car thinks you're holding the steering wheel, so it doesn't disengage. So you can just sit back and relax and enjoy the drive. Still working. Still working. Still working. Yeah, don't do this at home. It's just for illustration purposes. Anyway, Fabrizio, you're fired. When you finally get onto an interesting piece of road, you're going to want to take the controls back yourself, because this is actually a surprisingly fun car to drive for such a big luxury saloon. So I'm going to switch it into sports mode, and there's a noticeable difference between comfort and sport in terms of the throttle response, the steering weight, and especially the suspension. It's amazing how much it grips actually through the corners. Now, one of the reasons for that is that Bentley has actually moved the engine slightly back, and it's shorter than the old W12, so the balance is better than before. Also, when you go in sports mode, it really limits the amount of power that goes to the front wheel, so it's effectively rear wheel drive. I reckon this thing will drift, but I can't do that today. Anyway, what I'm going to do is put it into Bentley mode, which actually works out what I'm doing, what the road's like, and it gives you the best of both worlds between comfort and sportiness. And I can just waft along or hammer it depending on my mood. However, if you want to hammer it a lot, you're probably going to be better off with the Continental GT. It's just a little bit more sporty. And if you click on the pop-out banner up there in the top right corner of the screen, you can watch my video review of it. So then, what's my final verdict on the Bentley Continental Flying Spur? Should you avoid it, consider it, shortlist it, or just go right ahead and buy it? Well, if you want a luxury car that's brilliant to drive, but also brilliant to be driven in, if you can afford it, just go right ahead and buy it. Do you agree with my verdict? Let me know in the comments section. Also, please subscribe to this channel for more videos. And if you click on the deals box to the right, you can see how much you can save on a new car at CarWow. Or click on the video windows below to watch another of my videos.